Hello everybody, time for a quick catch up on my large twin trunk fusion larch project. As you can see, it's losing all its leaves, but or needles I should say, but in a quite ungainly fashion, despite the fact we've had quite a bit of wind. All the needles seem to be catching, and then of course there's a danger that they're going to get wet and soggy and clump together in a mass that could then cause rot and problems with the buds and the bark underneath. So I'll give you a quick spin round of it. So if you've got a larch and it's doing this, it would pay you just to try and get rid of a lot of this debris, I fear. I'm not actually sure whether we've achieved full fusion with this tree this year. We certainly hadn't when I checked it in the spring of this year. And I said then I was going to leave it for another year in the pot, which I've obviously done. I've just allowed it to grow. And it's grown well, so I just want to, as I say, preempt any rotting problems that might be caused by these clumps of needles. It's also an area where bugs and insects and disease could harbour. So that's better. Obviously it hasn't dropped all of its needles yet, but a great many. I've got a few pieces of wire on here as well, so we'll take those off. Okay, so just slip this off. Hopefully it has taken. It certainly feels like it has. This tree's got a lot of branches growing off in a lot of odd directions that are going to need some sorting out. Quite a considerable amount of sorting out, I should think, at some point. A huge mat of needles. Huge mass of needles here at the base, and it's really quite hard to see whether it has actually fused at the base without taking it out of the pot. I think I will leave it in the pot over winter. Some of these lower branches will need removing, but I don't mind some chunkier scars on a big tree like this, which isn't grown for its bark particularly. I'm quite happy to have some larger scars. I think what I'm going to do is leave this tree for a little while longer, till the rest of these needles have finished and fallen. They've still got a job to do in sending their goodness back down the branches into the trunk to see the trunk through winter. So it's not fully dormant yet, and I will probably have to remove some more needles from the trees at some point. We've got some silly clusters in places where we've got lots of branches coming from one point that'll all have to be removed, but I think we'll do that nearer to a repotting time, and I think this tree will definitely get a repot this year. It might even go into a bonsai pot if it shows evidence of good evidence of fusion at the base. We will see. I do have a pot in mind for it. Give you a quick spin round. Yeah, definitely needs a lot of tidying up, but that's for another day. It's the 20th of November today. I have remembered to switch my microphone on, but there is no on-off light or anything to indicate whether it's on or not, which has been an issue, because the only way to actually tell if the microphone's working is to record a bit and then run it back and check, and if you forget to do that, you sometimes find that you've been out here videoing and the sound's quite dodgy, so apologies for that. But anyway, the tree has now lost the majority of its needles. It still has a few that are clinging on here and there, but I'm going to start cutting this tree back now. I am going to repot it in the spring. I've just decided by hook or by crook it's coming out of this pot. It may go straight back into it or something similar, depending on how the fusion has gone, or I do have a bonsai pot that I think it would look quite nice in, if I feel it's at a stage where it could go in that. But we'll see when spring comes. Watch out for that, February, March time. In the meantime, what I want to do is just go through some of these branches where we have shoots like this, which are a bit wayward, coming back across the trunk line, and we have, for example, 3 shoots coming out in one spot, one back across the trunk line, one heading in that direction, and one going in the right direction. So I'm going to remove those 2 and trim back these quite hard. Again, we've got a clump here, so I'm going to snip those away. I can be quite brutal because I am, as I say, going to take an out of the pot and attack the roots, and if it does go into a bonsai pot, obviously I'm going to remove a lot of root out of this yeah, quite substantial pot, and we'll need to balance the top with the root base anyway. So this is always been my perceived front, I think, for this tree, hence obviously the number of back branches. Of course the Nabari might not work out so well with that, but we'll worry about that when we see it. What I've been trying to achieve is fusion, so hopefully these 2 trunks have fused quite nicely. So I'm just going to go through the tree, shortening things off, removing bits I don't like, and where there are clumps and walls. I don't want to remove the branches or cut them back too far, but as I say, we do need to lose some of this massive foliage if we're going to balance out the vigour with the roots being chopped. Obviously I'm cutting out any crossing pieces and any dead pieces. There's a lot of old crossing pieces here, and I may not in the end keep all of these branches. The piece there going across to the other trunk, so that's going to come off. Definitely this branch here is going to go in the final design. We'll make a decision on that in the spring when we repot. If the trees are fused enough, then this will come off, especially if it goes into the bonsai pot. And if it doesn't, or rather if they haven't, then I shall be leaving it on to help fatten the base of the trunk on this side, which will help with the fusion obviously. So back to it. Okay, so back to the front and just clear off all these needles. So you can see down to the trunk line, to the base. As I say, we will be looking at this root base in the spring, so make sure you're subscribed for that. And this has just been a very rough prune, and if you're wondering why I'm doing it now and not doing it when I do the actual repotting, as I said in other videos, I have a lot of trees that are going to need repotting come spring. So I'm doing some of the work over winter on the trees I know I'm going to be chopping back, and I need to do some balancing with the roots, and this will get into its new pot and hopefully get away again next year. This is just help with the basic structure. It needs a lot of refinement. As I say, some of these branches will stay, some will go in the final design, and once I've seen how much root I've chopped off, I may need to remove more of this top growth, but for now that's about it. Let me just put the can in for scale. As you can see, yeah, it's not huge, but it's not a tiny tree either. Thank you all for watching in these difficult times. Please take care of yourselves and stay safe.